Hey there, friends. So for today's class, you might have noticed that my angle is a little bit different than the norm for my other classes, and that's because today's class is a wall-focused class. The wall is a super versatile yoga prop, and obviously we all have walls, although sometimes it's hard to find a blank spot that's big enough. So in addition to the wall, I am going to use, just for comfort, a blanket for knee padding and blocks just to help me reach the floor a little bit better. You don't necessarily have to use those things, just it's a matter of comfort for your own body. So we're going to start with a little bit of foot stretching by walking really up close to the wall. I'm going to get one foot right up to it, and I'm going to try to bend the toes so that the toes are going up, and I'm trying to press the ball of the foot more down into the floor, and the toes are kind of up on the baseboard, and that might feel like it's a bit much, so you're just doing as much as you can, and you might kind of back away and then lean back into it. Hopefully I'm not going to rip my baseboard out here. Making some nice creaking noises. Feels pretty good though. Maybe just try to hold for a little bit. Let's try the other foot, right? Because it will be different from side to side like anything. And again, I'm trying to get my toes kind of up the baseboard and keep the ball of the foot down, and then I'll lean into it more and then just sort of back off. And there's no one exact right way it has to be. As long as you're feeling something in your foot, in your toes, you're doing it. That pinky toe, partially because it's smaller, but also because it just kind of has a mind of its own. It doesn't always want to play along. You can see on this side, that's the case for my pinky toe. And then after a few rounds of moving back and forth, just try to hold in the stretch for a few breaths. And from here, I'm going to keep both feet down, and I'm pretty close to the wall, just a few inches away from the body. I'm going to take my hands to the wall and trying to keep the hands on the wall, just kind of sliding up as high as I can without letting other things change, best I can feel. We're just kind of warming up the shoulders a little bit before doing more stuff with them. Contact the whole time, trying to keep the arms straight. Okay, and then next time I'm up, I'm going to keep my right hand all the way up, and then I'm going to turn to the left with the rest of my body. I'm still a few inches away from the wall. You may have to adjust your placement just a little bit, and I'm going to, again, try to keep the hand touching the wall the whole time as I reach it back and down, and then back up and forward and down. I'm working on some shoulder rotation. my arm up, and then I'm gonna bring it out, kind of out to the side, approximately hand in line with the shoulder, may not be exactly that. I'm gonna turn away from my hand a little bit more, and then I'm gonna keep my hand in place and turn toward it. And turn away. Feels good. And turn toward it. Turn away. That's the good stuff right there. Turn toward it. And then turn away. One last time, hold. Push into the wall just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna turn back toward the wall. And then I'll reach both arms up again to get my left arm up. Take the right arm down. Turn away. I guess I was supposed to have that arm kind of moving, right? All right, here we go. From side to side. This is my left arm, which is my non-dominant arm, so it usually feels a little bit more open than my right arm, but you never know. Okay, and I'm going to keep it kind of behind me, shoulder height-ish. Turn a little bit more away from it. Keep the hand in place. And then turn the body toward it and away and toward it and away. I'm still a few inches away from the wall, right? I'm not right up beside it. Okay, this time let's hold in that sweet spot. Give the arms a little shake, right? I think that feels pretty nice. All right, so from here, we're gonna move on to some cat-cow spinal movement with the hands against the wall. You can experiment and adjust where your hands are, just to have it feel different ways. I'm gonna kind of step back into sort of a wall down dog almost kind of shape, and I'll try it here. So I'll inhale and kind of let my chest sink down, let my back arch, just kind of like puppy pose. And then as I exhale, I'll round, letting the pelvis move too. So if your shoulders are not really open, you might find like this position is a bit much, right? If puppy pose is not typically your favorite kind of position, you might try it a little bit higher. Walk your hands higher up the wall, right? And you're kind of sinking less into the shoulders. But it just depends on your body, so maybe try a few different places. One more inhale. Exhale. Okay. From here, we're going to move on a little bit to the legs and still in a way work the shoulders just a little bit, but in a different direction. So I'm going to stand away from the wall, facing away from the wall. My feet are maybe a block and a half distance forward from the wall. It may take a little bit of experimentation to figure out your exact spacing. So just, you know, you'll see as we go that you might need to adjust. Okay, So what we're gonna do from here is work on shoulder extension first, right? I've got my palms facing the wall because I'm gonna try to bring my hands to the wall in just a moment. So I'm gonna bring my arms behind me, right? So that's our shoulder extension, and I can feel it in my triceps and shoulders, so that I can put my hands down, bend my knees, and let the wall help me to slide down to sort of like chair pose, just a wall sit kind of position. While I'm here, I'm gonna work my feet, the legs a little bit more, the calves, by lifting both heels up and down. And then I'll kind of press into the wall again and lift myself back up. And we'll try that a few times. Reach back, find the wall, slide down into your wall sits, press your back against the wall, lift the heels, lower the heels, right? Let the wall help you to stand back up. Press the arms back, reach for the wall, slide down, back against the wall, lift the heels, lower the heels, right? Press away from the wall. Let's do a couple more. From here, let's take a moment to sit just a little bit lower, and we'll hold for just a little bit and really get those quads burning. And then I promise we'll stretch them. This is like the worst thing ever. And I like quad stuff, but whoo, burns. Okay, hands to the wall. Oh, press yourself back up. All right, now I said we were going to stretch those quads out. I'm gonna use a blanket for knee padding. So I'm gonna stretch my right quad area first, right thigh first. So that's gonna be my back leg in a lunge. And I'm gonna use a block or two just to kind of help me reach into position. So I'm gonna have the right knee down, and you've gotta get close enough to the wall. Your knee is bent a lot, right? So you gotta be careful if you've got anything going on with your knee. But the closer you can get, the more stretch you'll probably feel. You can keep your toes tucked under or flatten your toes against the wall. So what we're gonna try here is just kind of see how it feels to let the hips sink down, right? So we're a little bit more extended, and then kind of push yourself up and press toward the wall a little bit more. And ooh, I feel that quite a bit. Let things come down, press back toward the wall. Down, press back, down, press back. Let's do one more round. Take a moment here. And then, more for fun than anything, and because I think the wall is a nice prop for this pose, we're going to try to keep this front foot planted as we lift up into the standing splits variation. And you can keep those top toes tucked under, you can put your toenails down, whatever feels appropriate. And we're just kind of folding toward that opposite leg. All right, we'll carefully step down and switch sides. I'm gonna move my blankie over for that opposite knee. Okay, so the right foot will be forward, left knee is down. Right, again, we have to really scooch it back as close to the wall as we can. Sometimes getting into place is a little bit awkward. And feel free to tuck your toes or point the toes, whatever feels best for you. Blocks just for some help to reach, right? Let things kind of sink downward. And then press a little bit more upright, press toward the wall. Let things come down, and then move them back. Down, and back. Down, Standing split variation here, walking that leg up, folding. And releasing, and just kind of hanging out in a nice easy forward fold here. Take a few breaths. All right, let's come on up from here and we'll shift focus back up to the upper body just a little bit. So we're gonna take our backs all the way up against the wall, you know, as much as you can depending on body parts, etc. And we're gonna make cactus arms, right, so goalposts, and we're trying to bring them to the wall, and you might not be able to. So, within reason, making that cactus arm shape, and if possible, bring elbows to the wall, and maybe again the entire surface of your arm may not be touching the wall. We're going to try some rotation here with the arm. So, keeping the elbows against the wall, rotating, hands toward the wall, keeping elbows pushing into the wall, and then coming back up. Back and forth. It is harder than it looks. Whew. Okay. Now that we've sort of warmed up that arm shape, I'm going to do a little bit of stretching within that shape, similar to when we had our arms wide at the wall. So I'm going to take a cactus arm to the wall, and again, I'm a few inches away from it, and I'm going to turn away from it. You might use your opposite hand to push into it a little bit. You might try moving your arm slightly higher to just kind of access some different muscles. And we'll try the other side. Again, a little bit of distance from the wall, turning away from it, pushing the arm into the wall. Maybe a little bit of a higher position, get to some different spots. Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, shake it out. All right, I'm gonna move my props out of the way. So we're gonna come down to the mat. And before we end with kind of the traditional wall poses, like legs up the wall, I'm gonna do a little bit more work, and we're gonna be a little bit of a distance away from the wall. You may have to experiment a little bit until you find the right spacing for you. So what we're gonna do is some bridge variations. All right, and I've got my feet just a little bit higher than my knees because of the way it feels for me when I go into my lift. So what we're gonna try to do here is some spinal movement to take us into bridge, which continues the spinal movement. So we're gonna do sort of like a cat-cow variation, right? So we'll let the low back lift, and then we'll press it flat, and then as it starts to go toward a posterior tilt, that's when we'll lift up into bridge, and we're kind of peeling the spine up, and then lowering down, and then again move into more of an anterior tilt, post tilt, lifting that up into bridge. Let's do one more round. Okay, and then after returning down, I'm gonna walk my feet down just a little bit, and then I'll keep my left foot on the wall and cross my right leg into a pigeon position. You may have to adjust your foot placement. And I'm not really feeling anything just yet, and I'm gonna get more of the feeling of the pigeon stretch by lifting that opposite heel and kind of letting that press me more into pigeon. And you have to scooch just a little bit closer or further away depending on your body in order to feel that. I'm just gonna kind of go back and forth with that. Okay, and then I'll go to the other side, cross it over. Now lift the heel and lower it back down. So as I lift, I'm accessing more of the stretch by bringing the leg closer in. And the closer to the wall you are, probably the more you'll feel that. So find a good distance for your body. Okay, I'll uncross that. So from here, I'm gonna keep one foot on the wall and kind of move into place, kind of scooching. So it's a little bit awkward, but I'm gonna keep my right foot on the wall. I'm gonna take my left foot down to help me kind of scooch everything else away from the wall. I'm scooching to the left, and I'm gonna try to get to where I've got my right toes kind of facing up, right? So this is what I would consider like a variation on that like hand to big toe open leg position. And I'm using the wall to really kind of press into. And to keep it a little bit gentler, you can keep this other leg like I've got it here with the foot down and the knee bent. You could try extending that leg down, and that's a little bit of a different feeling. Also, feels pretty nice. But the main action is on sort of the hammy inner thigh area on this leg that's pressing against the wall. So you do want to make sure the entire surface of your foot is pushing into the wall, and that's the distance that you need to be. I think it feels pretty good. So again, slightly awkward to sort of maneuver. I'm gonna plant this other foot again. I'll bend this knee of the foot that's against the wall and kind of scooch back to center. Put my left foot on the wall, step my right foot out and kind of scooch over to the right to where I can get into place, right? Leg is about in line with the hip, toes up, foot pressing against the wall. Again, maybe this opposite leg is a little bit more relaxed and foot's down, knees bent, or you could try taking that leg all the way down, see how that feels. And your leg that's against the wall, right, it might be slightly lower than your hips, slightly higher, depending on your level of flexibility. So again, you may have to experiment with positioning just a little bit to find your Goldilocks. Not too hot, not too cold position. And then to come out from this side, I'm gonna, again, kind of walk this opposite leg back in, and I'm just gonna kind of roll over to my left side, and then press up to just a easy cross-legged position. And I'm gonna move really close up to the wall so I can use it for an arm stretch, one final upper body stretch. So this is kind of a thread the needle variation, but with both arms in play instead of just the one. So basically we're gonna kind of thread one arm on top of the other, right? So I'm crossing my right arm on top of my left, and my hands are reaching in opposite directions. And I'm gonna scooch up to the wall so that I've got the backs of my hands against the wall, and I'm sort of pressing against it until I feel some stretch kind of in the side and front of the shoulders. Switch that cross, taking the left arm on top. Again, they're moving in opposite directions. Backs of the hands to the wall. You sort of scooch into it, press against the wall, right? It's not super passive, right? You gotta have to kind of press into it a little bit. Transition to having legs up against the wall. I'm gonna try that a couple different ways. So I find the easiest way to get into it, which I only recently discovered, is to sort of lie down on one side with your butt all the way touching the wall. Now, not everyone feels extremely comfortable with legs at the wall in different positions. One thing that people do is to put a blanket or a block or a bolster or something, a pillow underneath your hips or your low back, and that does not feel good at all for me. So I can't really tell you what feels good for you. I'll only give you some options to try if you need to. So from there, I'm gonna kind of swing up, and again, my butt's at the wall. I'm gonna start with sort of a wall squat, almost like a happy baby using the wall. So I'm using the wall to press my feet into, and also try to keep my back pressing down with the assistance of my feet. And I think it actually feels pretty nice. From here to close, of course, we're going to do legs up the wall, and for me it feels wonderful. For you, if it doesn't feel great for you, some things to think about again: propping up your hips or your low back, putting something on top of your feet. You would probably need a friend to help you with that, and just make sure that it feels sturdy and it's not going to fall on your face, obviously. Some people feel like their legs are slipping, so you could strap your legs together. I've heard of people doing that. So there are ways to make that just a little bit friendlier. And once you are in the friendliest version for your body, pick an arm position that feels nice. You can close your eyes, and we'll take this as our final rest pose. Letting the wall and the floor give us lots of support. Just breathing nice and easy. Letting everything soften, letting everything rest. All right, let's walk the feet down, hug the knees, rock a little bit, and then roll back down to your side. Take a moment and carefully press yourself up to a comfortable seat. All right. I hope that that felt nice for you and that you discovered some new ways to use this wonderfully versatile, amazing prop, the wall, to enhance your practice. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to practicing with you, probably in my normal spot, again soon. Have a great day.